Welcome to this week's episode of the Ramblin' Runnels podcast, hosted by Jesse Runnels. This week, my wife will not be on the podcast because I know she didn't particularly like some of the topics I decided to talk about this week, and I'll get into that later, but this will be just a solo podcast this week, so yeah. But I hope you guys enjoy it nevertheless. But before I get into the topics that I said I was going to talk about, I was going to talk about like some life stuff. So Tuesday I start going back to school online, though not at a campus per se. I'm going to Western Governors University to finish out my bachelor's, and it's going to be in network operations and security is my major, so like an IT degree pretty much. So yeah, I've been deliberating about if I was going to go back to school or not, and I finally did, and my wife convinced me, and yeah, I'm going to go back. And they seem like a good school. Even though they are online, they're also affordable, which is good considering I only have a year left of my post 9/11 GI Bill, and then I'm sure I'm going to have to spend some of my own money to finish the degree, which is fine. So yeah, it'll be a good deal to get my bachelor's degree, and they have they're good accreditation too, so like they're regionally accredited, so that's good for future jobs and whatnot. Some jobs are sticklers for where you got your degree at and how it was accredited and all that. Well, I guess I'll just launch into this. So this week some big news happened in the national news. Donald Trump is getting the Democrats are launching an impeachment inquiry for Donald Trump because he made a phone call with the president of Ukraine in reference to Joe Biden to try to get political gains in the 2020 election. So I'm gonna play a clip about Speaker of the House Pelosi talking about releasing that Ukraine phone transcript. So and this is wait, wrong link. But this is her saying that they're, going to do an inquiry.
The acting DNI will appear before the House Intelligence Committee.
Here it is.
At that time, he must turn over the whistleblower's full complaint to the committee. He will have to choose whether to break the law or honor his responsibility to the Constitution. On the final day of the Constitutional Convention in 1787, when our Constitution was adopted, Americans gathered on the steps of Independence Hall to wait the news of the government our founders had crafted. They asked Benjamin Franklin, "What do we have, a republic or a monarchy?" Franklin replied, "A republic if you can keep it. Our responsibility is to keep it." Our republic endures because of the wisdom of our Constitution, enshrined in 3 co-equal branches of government serving as checks and balances on each other. The actions taken to date by the President have seriously violated the Constitution, especially when the President says, Article 2 says I can do whatever I want. For the past several months, we have been investigating in our committees and litigating in the courts, so the House can gather all the relevant facts and consider whether to exercise its full Article 1 powers, including a constitutional power of the utmost gravity, approval of articles of impeachment. And this week, the President has admitted to asking the President of Ukraine to take actions which would benefit him politically. The actions of the Trump presidency revealed the dishonorable fact of the president's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections.
Okay, so that's the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, reacting to, or not reacting, calling for impeachment based on what I previously said about him calling the Ukraine, and then she talked about how Benjamin Franklin and the founders of this country, wanted to, the whole checks and balances thing, and wanting to keep either a monarchy or a republic, and Benjamin Franklin said republic because monarchy would have been what England had. So yeah, I mean, it's from what I've read about this whole ordeal, it's pretty damning evidence against old Donald. Old Donald. But, I mean, honestly, I haven't spoken a whole lot about this presidency, and I just tried to act like it never happened, but, certainly did. I mean, the only thing I could see that he actually got done as a president, besides having one of the longest government shutdowns in history, which is incredulous, if you ask me. It's despicable. Like, that's the worst thing I ever heard. Like, people were out of work for a month and a half, it seemed like, and anyways, I talked about it in a previous podcast, but that was pretty terrible. He didn't get that wall he said he was going to get. The only thing he actually did was meet with the North Korean leader, which no other president has done. Actual physical meeting, and which to me was just a publicity stunt to try to get him reelected. And he did that tax thing. He got all the tax breaks for all the 1% companies like Amazon, Twitter. All these companies got to forego their taxes, which only probably benefits his company as well outside of the presidency. So that says a lot about him. And I mean, he really hasn't done all that much as a president. Like, I mean, you could talk all you want about Obama, but he actually got things done as a president. He got, he made, marriage be legal for everybody, homosexual or not. You can be a homosexual and be in the military before you couldn't. And he got the Obamacare thing, which is, as much people like to gripe about it, it's good for people who don't have health insurance and are dying and that kind of stuff. So, I think Obamacare was a good thing in some ways, and I could see the argument for why it wouldn't be, but it gave health care for all, so that's a good thing. But other than that, I haven't seen a whole lot of good come from this presidency. I think he's a racist to go on TV after the Charlottesville thing and say that there was wrong on both sides. There was wrong on only one side. The racists killed the alt-left people, I guess you could say. The people who were protesting initially, and that's terrible. That is the only wrong there in that situation. So, if any of you watch The Black Klansman, it'll show all this at the very end of the movie, and very clear. So, just throwing that one out there about the whole Charlottesville thing. But now, I'm going to play a clip about how Nancy Pelosi reacts to the transcript.
The transcript is out now. I'm wondering if you think that Congress needs to talk to Attorney General Barr. The president seemed to offer his cooperation.
I haven't seen it, so I've just come from our own meeting. But the transcript is, the fact is that the President of the United States, in breach of his constitutional responsibilities, has asked a foreign government to help him in his political campaign at the expense of our national security, as well as undermining the integrity of our elections. That cannot stand. He will be held accountable. No one is above the law.
And you're hearing Democrats also call for the recusal of the Attorney General Bill Barr as the investigation continues. We'll see how that ultimately turns out, but clearly this not tamping down the calls for impeachment from Democrats as they feel emboldened in the release of this transcript.
So that's her reacting to the transcript initially. I mean, she just pretty much said that the president broke the law. You can't use, foreign powers for political gain, and he is trying to. Or
the president tweeting just moments ago about the whistleblower.
Sorry about that. Whoops. But well, didn't press pause on the CNN link there. Sorry about that. But yeah, I wonder who the whistleblower is, though. I wonder if it's Pence. I wonder if Pence is trying to, sabotage Trump. That would be pretty funny, but I doubt it. But this is, to me, this is the most damning impeachment inquiry in my lifetime, at least from what I remember. I mean, I was a little young when, the Clinton thing was going down, but he repealed his impeachment, and I guess they kind of let him just stay the rest of his term, or something like that. I think something like that. I think someone else got impeached, but eons ago, 1800s or something. I don't know which president, Andrew Jackson maybe, I think might have got impeached. But anyways, if this doesn't get you impeached, I don't know what does. So, I think he's going to get impeached. If you ask me, I think he broke the law. I'm surprised it took this long. There's other stuff he did that they didn't. Who knows? But I think this is the big kahuna as far as the evidence of pretty cut and dry evidence here to get the President of the United States, President Trump, impeached. So on the back end of this, let's say he does get impeached. I wonder, and that's it for President Trump, which would be a good thing in my opinion. I hope this bodes well for the re-election, and if Pence decides to run for re-election, I'm sure he would, and then I think the Dems would have a good shot against Pence. I think any of them. And personally, I would like to see Andrew Yang be nominated, but I know that's not realistic, but I'm a hopeful, and I like Andrew Yang's political platform and his campaign and his whole ordeal. I've spoke about this previously. I think Andrew Yang is he's the president we need for this era, because we're, like he says, I think we're going into the next industrial revolution. And if people don't realize that, automation's about to take away a lot of jobs. And retail's one of the highest jobs in America, one of the most, as percentage wise, a lot of people work in retail, and Amazon is, kind of all these mom and pop stores and malls are closing due to Amazon. So I don't know, it's strange times for, that people to, like, job-wise for people. I mean, yeah, I guess that you could say the economy's doing well in certain ways, but I think the, like, opportunities are dwindling for people career-wise or job-wise. I'm personally glad that I found a career, at least I think I found a career that will keep me, the longevity of my career will last as long as I'm interested in working, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So the IT field is, I don't think it's going away, so I think I'll be fine. But as far as the everyday American, I don't know if I can say yes to that. And I think Andrew Yang's a step in the right direction. But I think I would support any candidate. I don't know if I like Joe Biden all that much, but I do like Bernie Sanders, and I think I don't really know Elizabeth Warren all that much, but I think I like her more than Joe Biden. I don't know all her political ideas. I need to do some research about her, and I don't know if I like Kamala Harris. Some of the debates, her Medicare for All bill to me was a little confusing and didn't make sense. So, and plus she kind of goes after people, and I don't know if I like that in the debates. I feel like you should just talk about what you're gonna do as the president rather than, attack people like she attacked Joe Biden, and she's obviously attacked Donald Trump in the debates. All the other candidates, I mean, those are the strong ones. Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris is strong. I think the Pete Buttigieg, might be kind of up there in the polls. And I also don't know a lot about his stuff. I mean, he seems like a good candidate, though. Devin Booker, a lot of the candidates I was interested in kind of dropped out, but I'll try to watch the next debate. I've enjoyed them so far, and I think that's all I have to say on this week's episode as far as all the impeachment stuff and how this election's gonna go. But you can listen to this episode on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts / Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher. It's on Podbean. If you just want to get the Podbean app, it's on there. And you can also, for subject matter, you can DM me, message me on various social media platforms, on Instagram on Jesse.Runnels, on Facebook, simply Jesse Runnels, and on Twitter at Jesse_Runnels. You can email me even at ramblinrunnels@gmail.com, RAMBLIN Runnels@gmail.com. And I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode of the Ramblin' Runnels podcast.